We have Tim Shields here that would just like to provide a closing remark with regard to our application. As I say, we'll certainly be available to listen to the questions and respond to those questions separately. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Tim Shields, Cronan Shields, 20 Water Street in Guilford. We're here this evening on behalf of the applicant. I just want to address a couple of quick points, if I may. What I'd like to do is read into the record a letter that was prepared by my partner, Tom Cronan. He could not be here tonight because he's down in St. John, so we have no pity for him. But this letter is important because we just want to emphasize some of the points that have been made by Mr. Andrew tonight. The letter advises that our firm obviously has been retained by the applicant. Our review of the record for this matter shows that the commission in its meeting in November of last year had decided that in the interest of the public to hold these public hearings. We note that as part of the record, the commission, as has been mentioned by Mr. Andrew already, did not find that this activity was a significant activity requiring public hearing. It's just being done in the public interest. Our client recognizes that the political expedience of holding the public hearings on a matter for which already engendered a great deal of public opposition. We've experienced this same kind of opposition when we applied and were granted a variance with the ZBA to permit the reconstruction of the collapsed structure that was originally on the property. That was done after the as-of-right period as provided in the regulations had expired. We were successful in obtaining that, and we actually were also successful in defending an appeal that was taken by one of the neighbors. So we do understand the depth of the opposition that is here, and it's not to be unexpected. And obviously we have great members of the public here that are here tonight that would like to comment. So that continues. There are a couple of immutable facts that seem relevant for the consideration of the application. First, the application does not involve any new use of the site by the applicant. It is essentially the same activities that were in existence beforehand. The proposed use is consistent with that prior use of the property, and before the collapse of that structure, resulting in a blight condition that's led to some of the delays here. The applicant had to go forward with and clean up and remediate that blight condition on the property. Second is the use being made by the former site owner before the collapse of the building was lawful in every respect. Again, we're permitting and proposing the same type of uses. Third, the new owners have certain vested rights to reestablish the use, even if those rights are somewhat mitigated by the jurisdiction of the commission here. Fourth, because the application involves technical matters, it is important that the testimony received considered by the commission in reaching its decision rises to the level of approaching expert testimony. That is really key for your decisions tonight. I know the public has great concern here and they want to comment, but by and large, our courts, the appellate court, the Supreme Court of our state, have determined that public concerns and comments and statements don't rise to that level of expert testimony that's required.
All right, please. Thank you.
I'm just stating the law for the commission. Our courts have routinely and consistently held that the general public does not usually possess the expertise required to opine on environmental impacts on the matter involving damage to the inland wetlands. Similarly, the courts have rejected administrative decisions based on mere speculation by the public that possible risks to the wetlands would be the basis of the decision. We remain hopeful that these decisions of our courts guide the commission as it navigates its way through the remainder of the public hearing. With that said, we must note that we do have concern about the very short time that we were afforded to respond to some of the reports that were submitted by the town's engineer. Specifically, the engineering report came in and was disclosed to us last Thursday, just before the 3-day holiday weekend. We've had very little time to digest that and respond to that. Mr. Andrews, Mr. Allen have done the best they can to address those issues tonight. But what I'd also like to point out is your procedural rules, specifically 9.2, prohibit the applicant from providing any demonstrable evidence, written evidence, updated reports, demonstrated drawings, to support their application unless they're submitted 15 days prior to the hearing. We feel that that is a significant infringement on the due process rights of the applicant. We want to make that clear in the record so that we can preserve that issue on appeal if necessary. I will provide the report to the commission. I have provided, I hope, enough copies here for everyone to have.
Thank you, Attorney Shields. Just to be clear, were you asking for additional time to respond to DTC's comments, or are you just pointing out that your time frame to review was foreshortened in your opinion?
Yes.
The latter?
Yes, we have very little time to respond to, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
So you're not intending to prepare additional comments at this time?
Not at this point.
Thank you.
I'm the property owner of Old Post Road, and we bought the property probably Richard Kowaleski.
Thank you,
So we
Richard.
bought the property probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It was a collapsed building, and we applied for a demolition permit, and started in April of 2013 to clean the building up. The building was on the ground for 2 years. No one complained about it. There was a blight ordinance put against the owners, and that's why they decided to sell the piece of property. We bought it, and we cleaned it up. It took 4 months, and for 4 months I worked outside with heavy equipment on the property with the mesh cleanup. Never contaminated the wetlands. Never got nobody ever came down to say hi or, hey Rick, what are you doing? You know, but we cleaned up the place. I moved 40 to 50 truckloads of material a day out of there. I also used the rail to do the C&D. Worked 7 days a week because I was under a window where I had to get the building cleaned up by July 31st of 2013 or 2014. But being on the property for 4 months, trucks coming in and out of there, trucks coming in, filling up my equipment with oil or diesel fuel. Not one person ever came down to the property to see what I was doing, or, I mean, the noise on Sundays and Saturdays, because I ran the equipment myself, I was a little bit nervous about doing it. But you guys live 500 feet away, and no one came over and said hi, or hey, you know, are you allowed to be doing this? No, to the commission. And it boggles my mind that see, we were in a transfer station for 4 months with no one to complain. We cleaned up the mess. Cost us over $700,000 to clean up the mess. And now I want to build a facility and run it inside of a building, and now everybody wants to, or the commission wants to give me a hard time.
Thank you, Richard.